I want to show you how you could use Dynamics 365 Business Central for flexible operations where you may have outside contractors doing a lot of the work for you. I want to show you a business organization that has a product. That product is manufactured and assembled by a contract manufacturer who then sends it to a 3PL company that sends that out to the business organization's clients. So let's get started. What we're going to cover is contract manufacturing. We'll look at inventory, the assembly process, and then recognizing costs of that contract manufacturer. Then we'll also look at the third-party logistics company that'll receive the items in, they'll ship them out to the clients, and we'll also take a quick look at doing a physical count. If you have a business that has inventory, they own the inventory, and it's not all at their location, it may be at other locations, maybe a customer, maybe a contract manufacturer, maybe a 3PL, a subcontractor. What you need to do is you want to keep track of that inventory because it's on your balance sheet. You'll want to make sure you have good control of it, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this scenario. I'm logged into Business Central as a manufacturing manager, and from here I have access to all the system. But let's take a look at the role center and the activities I have available to me here. The first thing I want to look at is the item. And the item I'm going to look at is this air pot. This is a finished good item. Again, I have the contract manufacturing assembling it, and I've got the 3PL company sending it out to my customers. So let's take a further look at this item. It's a simple item. Let's take a look at the availability currently in my system. I can take a look at it by location. And this is the current inventory for that air pot in multiple locations. The locations that we're going to focus on is the 3PL right here and also the contract manufacturer. And you can see I've got some available at the contract manufacturer. I actually have a planned deficit at the 3PL company, so we'll resolve that. And to make things easier and a little more automated, what I've done is I've taken this air pot, this finished good item, and I've made stock keeping units for it. The stock keeping units are going to be applied to each location in which this item appears. So let's take a look at those. Here's the SKU for the contract manufacturer. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see that the replenishment is set to production order, which is what we want. And also we've got specific routing and a bill of material for this particular location for this particular item. This is a big advantage of the stock keeping units in Business Central. This is the stock keeping unit for the 3PL. I've got this set up slightly different. Let's take a look at it. And the replenishment method is different. This is going to be a transfer. This is an inventory transfer from another location in my system. And we'll see how items can be transferred from one location to another location. The first thing I want to do is run a couple of MRP processes. So I'll pick this default here. This will focus on the manufacturing operations. So let's run that. It's easy to do. I'm going to run it for this period of time. I'm also using a demand forecast to make sure that I'm up to date with what my sales organization is telling me they can sell. You can see that right here. I'm going to go ahead and run this. And these are the results here. So what this tells me is a couple of things. First of all, I need to transfer these items over here, the top two lines, to my 3PL so that they can satisfy the sales orders I've got already in the system. And then I've got planned production orders for the finished good item at the contract manufacturer. So I'm going to go ahead and accept the first few lines here. I'm going to accept this one here and these two production orders. I'm going to take these 5 lines and create transfer orders and production orders. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's take a look at the production orders. From my role center as a manufacturing manager, I can drill right down on this tile. I see that I've got 2. Let's look at the first one here. This one is all set up to create 500 finished good items. I can look at the components here and see all the items that are going to go into this finished good item. You can see those listed here. I already have them on site at my contract manufacturer. So all I need to do here is process this production order. It's going to go through the process. It's going to relieve components from raw materials, and it's going to create the finished good item. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. For this bill of material and the items, I have this set up as a forward flush. So the items have already been relieved from inventory and put into finished goods. This has been posted. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK here. This one's pretty much done. This is the one that we just created. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. And we're done. Let's go back and look at the item. This is the current availability in my system. You can see it's been updated based on the MRP run. I've got plenty of items in my contract manufacturer. You can see the quantity on hand here. But what I do need to do is transfer those items from the CMO over to the 3PL. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's take a look at the transfer orders. These are the current transfer orders I have in my system. Let's take a look at this one. This transfer order takes the quantities from my CMO to my 3PL. And for this transfer, I want to use an in-transit location. So what this allows me to do is have the CMO ship the goods, but they will not automatically go into the 3PL's inventory until the 3PL receives them in. This gives better control and accountability to all the parties involved in this transaction. So I'm going to go ahead and post this, and I'm just going to post a shipment. It's still showing as an inventory transfer because it has not yet been received by the 3PL. Let's take a look at some reporting. This is a handy report because it shows the 3PL's incoming receipts that have not yet been received. Let's go back to this transfer. And you can see that the quantity has been shipped over here, and the quantity has not yet been received. So what we can do here is receive into the 3PL only the quantity that they actually received and that they indicated that they received. So in this case, they were actually 10 short. We'll put that in there, and then we'll post. Post a receipt. They'll take that 790 into the inventory in the 3PL. And the value here is that this discrepancy of 10 needs to be resolved between the CMO and the 3PL. And that 10 will stay out here as an unreceived amount until one of the parties decides how to fix it. Before we continue, if you like this type of content, the best way to support us and to help others find this content is to subscribe to our channel, activate the notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for helping us grow this channel. Let's get back to the demonstration. Next, let's take a look at how the contract manufacturer can bill for their services. They're doing a lot here. They're receiving in the component items into their warehouse, they're scheduling production, they're actually doing the assembly, and then they're sending it out to the 3PL. So they're going to charge for that based on a contract they have with a business organization. And this is just one way that we can record that charge. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a purchase invoice. I'm going to record this as a landed cost. You can see I've got the invoice going here. We can look at the line items and see the item charge. I've already assigned it to a receipt that I have for $500. So let's go ahead and just close that. I'm going to accept that and then post this. This will show up as an accounts payable invoice, but will also increase the cost of that inventory on that particular receipt. This was an inventory transfer. The cost of this will be added to that layer in inventory. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. Now let's take a look at sales orders. These are my current sales orders being fulfilled by the 3PL. Let's take a look at it. Here's one that's ready to go. So what's going to happen is I'm going to post this. It's going to relieve the inventory at the 3PL. It's going to create an accounts receivable invoice in my receivables, and I'm going to track it from there. You may have a different type of relationship with your 3PL where they do all the billing and the receiving, and then they just send you cash periodically. That is handy. You can handle that in Business Central as well. But in this case, I'm going to create the invoice, I'm going to send the invoice, and I'm going to collect the money at a later time. So let's just go ahead. This is exactly what I wanted. This is what the customer ordered. It's on time in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and post that. I'm going to ship an invoice at the same time. And I'm done with that order. The inventory has been updated for that shipment from the 3PL and has also created an invoice in my accounts receivable. Let's take another look at availability of the finished good item AirPod. You can see here that I've got availability in my 3PL. That's good. Down here, this is the in-transit amount of 10 quantity that was not received by the 3PL and remains a disputed item that the 3PL and the CMO must resolve. And then down here, I've got the inventory at the CMO, which reflects the fact that they just made a number of these in a production run. If you own inventory at a third-party location, you're going to want to keep track of that inventory, and you may want to physically count it from time to time. So you can do that in Business Central. This is the physical inventory order. I'm going to set this up to count one particular item, the AirPod. We can see that it's at the 3PL location, and I currently show 490 in inventory. So let's go ahead and count that. What we're going to do is start a new recording. So I created a new recording. Let's take a look at it. This is what I'm going to use to record the actual count when I go and observe the inventory. So let's enter the amount. Here's the item here. Let's say that we completed the count and the quantity we have here is 500. The physical count has been recorded. I'm done, so I can finish this line. Finish the recording. And we can see the results of this count. The inventory for the 3PL location indicated that there were 490 there. I went out and counted them. There were actually 500. I have a positive adjustment of 10. So this may resolve the discrepancy between the CMO and the 3PL as far as that one shipment. But we're finished with this. We can go ahead and post it, and then we're done. So we looked at one way that a company might use Dynamics 365 Business Central to control their operations when they have third parties that are handling the inventory, performing assembly, and performing shipping. This is a flexible process. You can use the pieces that you want for your organization, but this is one way that you can do everything within Dynamics 365 Business Central. We looked at contract manufacturing and inventory at that location, how we can use SKUs to better control the process and automate the process. We looked at a simple assembly and production entry, and we also looked at how the CMO might record their costs and include that in the inventory costs of those particular items. And we looked at the 3PL and how 3PLs can control what's coming into their system and make sure that people are accountable within their organization and with other contractors in the process. We looked at how sales orders can easily be processed from that location, and we took a brief glimpse at how you can record physical counts.